Days of Our Lives, spoilers update for the week of June 23, 27, reveals that E.J. Dimera will do everything in his power to protect Johnny Dimera, which could mean destroying the memory stick after Rita Leslie brings it back from wherever she hid it. However, there could be a problem if that memory stick falls into the wrong hands before E.J. can get rid of it. Even if E.J. successfully obliterates the evidence against Johnny, he won't count on Rachel Black spilling to Marlena Evans. Since Rachel will tell Grandma Marlena that Johnny is E.J.'s shooter, Johnny will face Marlena and Roman Brady's interrogation soon after. Johnny will admit to pulling a gun on his father, but he'll swear he didn't go through with shooting him. Someone else did the deed instead. But Johnny is the one who'll go down for the crime. At least for now. Jada Hunter will gather enough proof to arrest Johnny for E.J.'s attempted murder. And it looks like it'll happen right after Johnny makes peace with his dad. As for Shane Donovan, Days spoilers say he won't take no for an answer during a tense discussion with Kat Green. It sounds like Kat's being roped into an ISA mission, but Rafe Hernandez could get suspicious after their park encounter. Rafe is doing work for the FBI through the Chicago office, so Kat could find herself at the center of an investigation. Next, Andrew Donovan and Paul Narita will have a sweet wedding day before their joint day's exit. Shane will be there for the nuptials and will eventually have a conversation with Tate Black about Sophia Choi's baby. Sophia's labor was a false alarm, but the baby could still be here any day now. Shane will sense that Tate might be having doubts about the adoption, so will Tate want to raise this kid himself? Sophia is afraid that's the way things are headed, so she'll want to lock in adoptive parents ASAP and will seek Melinda Trask's help to make it happen. Other Days spoilers say Xander Kyriakis will have a plan that involves protecting Titan Dimera. We'll see Xander juggle that with the looming custody battle, so look for him to deliver threats and insults to Sarah Horton Kyriakis as part of their next face-off. Since Xander refuses to let Sarah shove him out of Victoria Kyriakis' life, there's going to be trouble. Although Belle Black recently followed her heart and declared her love to E.J., more problems are already brewing. Belle will launch a confrontation with E.J., so she may grill him about Johnny and what he's been covering up. As for Kate Roberts Brady, she'll vow to get revenge on Xander. Since Philip Kyriakis is hiding Xander's guilt, Kate will be willing to take matters into her own hands. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of June 23, 27 will come with some conflict and curveballs, so stay tuned for updates on all the showdowns and stunning news ahead. E.J. and Belle are texting back and forth, flirting, when Rita walks into the Dimera home, memory card in hand. She hands it over. Then Tony waltzes in for dinner with E.J., delighted to see Rita. But he knows what she's doing there, he claims. E.J. can't hide things from him. After some more pleasantries, Rita heads out, and Tony tells E.J. he can confide in him if he's in trouble. E.J. holds out the memory card and says Johnny's the one in trouble, not him. E.J. explains what's on the card and walks Tony through it all. Tony can't believe it, though. Chad then takes a call from Leo, much to Gabby's annoyance, after which talk turns to Chad's date with Kat and the skydiving accident. Gabby's also surprised overhearing that. She's not judging Kat, but she wants to know what's really going on between Chad and Kat. He just says the more he learns about her, the more he likes her. As in like? Chad insists they're just friends, and that's giving him enough trouble with Jennifer. As they're talking over Kat, Tony and E.J. show up, and Chad greets his eldest brother with a joyful hug. Gabby's a lot cooler with E.J. Tony asks if they can join. Gabby thanks him for the lovely offer, then says she has to go. Before she leaves, Tony asks if she heard from Stefan lately. Nothing since he left Salem, Gabby says. Tony mentions reaching out to Stefan when they visited Alemania, but they never heard back. Chad figures Stefan followed through and cut ties, while E.J. says he got a card from Stefan. He's sure he's fine. Tony, though, worries that Stefan's in some kind of trouble. JJ, Jennifer, Jack, and Thomas are playing Monopoly in the living room, while Charlotte's off on a spa day with Julie. Thomas gets sad when he realizes the next family game night won't be for a while, since Jack and Jen will be heading back to Boston. But it's okay. They promise they want to visit more often. That's great, Thomas says, but why? He doesn't think it's just because they want to visit family more. JJ wonders that too, Once Thomas heads out to the kitchen, though, Jack admits Jen also wants to keep an eye on Kat. When Thomas comes back, he nearly wipes his grandmother out of the game, then offers a trade for her to stay in. If they tell him the real reason they're visiting more, is someone sick? Jack and Jen make up an excuse about wanting to be back more for Julie. She's been so sad since Doug died. Jack and JJ head out to talk in the hall, where JJ wonders why his mom is so focused on Kat now. If she is spending more time with Chad, JJ will keep an eye on her too. They head back in to finish Monopoly, where Thomas drops the news that Gabby dumped JJ, which is the first time an annoyed Jennifer heard her son was dating her. She lists off Gabby's crimes, and JJ says this is why he never said anything. They start getting into it as Jack hurries Thomas out, then comes back in to try calming everyone. It doesn't matter, JJ says. Gabby dumped him and it's moot. There's no going back. Out in the square, Kat's on the phone when someone appears to be following behind her. She gets spooked, but turns around to see no one. She makes it to the park, where Shane sneaks up on her. What, no hello for your old boss? He just wants to be sure his employees stay on their toes. Former employee, Kat says, reminding him she was just an analyst, not even a field agent. He wants her back, and she doesn't have a choice. But, he clarifies, it just means she'll come back on her own once he explains the stakes. Kat sits, reluctantly, and goes off, talking about how her investigating Clyde led to her father dying, her mom getting brainwashed, and her almost dying. But her services are done. I can't afford to end up like John Black. Shane accuses her of a low blow, and the world is more dangerous with John gone. That's why Kat's needed, that and her personal connection with the case. Since she's already working at the hospital with Marlena, she's the perfect person to find new boss EJ's partner, who must have given him the funds, and take down the Dimera criminal enterprise. Shane is sure EJ's planning something besides making money off the Versavix drug patent. That's too far off to be worth the payoff. Kat reluctantly agrees to keep her ears open and to report back only if she hears something useful. Splendid! But Kat's done when this is done, and the ISA will leave her alone for good. Jack and Jennifer say goodbye to Thomas and JJ, promising they'll be back soon. After JJ leaves, he runs into Gabby in the square, where he apologizes again. He was wrong to accuse her. Gabby happily asks what changed, and JJ says it was the memory card Rafe planted. So new evidence, she declares flatly, then walks off coldly after a few more words. Chad, Tony, and EJ toast to their father, and Tony brings up the Dimera company being swiped. He blames it on the Dimeras being at each other's throats and says they need to unite to bring back the company. I'm afraid not, EJ says. Dimera Enterprises has just given him misery. He thinks the future is on the hospital and his is on repairing his relationship with Johnny. Tony turns to Chad, who is perfectly happy running The Spectator. Chad says his farewells, though Tony snaps that the conversation isn't over. Then EJ gets a message from Belle, and he too leaves a dumbfounded Tony alone. He calls Anna and says that he brought up his concerns, but neither EJ nor Chad have any interest in helping. If the family business is to be saved, it seems I am the one who has to do it. Shane thanks Kat for her cooperation and wishes her the very best. She heads into the square, where Chad runs into her and they confirm they're still on for dinner, while a ticked JJ watches from behind a tree. Days of Our Lives spoilers and updates reveal soap fans can look forward to seeing actor Billy Flynn twice as much for the next 6 months. He revealed in March that he would be leaving Duel for an intriguing role on the CBS soap opera, The Young and the Restless. Billy made his debut this week on the CBS soap, but he'll be appearing on screen on Days for quite some time. As a matter of fact, almost an entire year. The Peacock soap has been filming 9 months ahead for at least a year now. Considering how significant Chad Dimera is on Days, fans believe it's probable that the role will be recast. The question is, with whom? Internet detectives have spotted some intriguing social media activity that appears to suggest who might be stepping in for Billy Flynn, and there are not just one, but 2 potential candidates. Continue reading for all the details on who might be stepping in as the new Chad Dimera. Billy Flynn became a part of Duel in 2014, taking on the character of Chad Dimera, who is the illegitimate son of Stefano Dimera and Madeline Peterson Woods. Initially, Chad hesitated to accept his place within the Dimera family upon discovering his true heritage, but he has since come to terms with his dark lineage. In recent years, much of Chad's narrative has revolved around the tragic death of his wife, Abigail Devereaux, and the intriguing possibility that she might still be alive. A mysterious woman, portrayed by 90210 actress Anna Lynn McCord, arrived in Salem claiming to be Abigail, only to be later revealed as an imposter. Her actual name was Kat Green, and it was revealed that she is the daughter of Katharina Meliunis Green. Katharina is also the daughter of Constantine Meliunis, whom the late John Black believed he had killed. Despite the lies, Chad and Kat developed a bond that the show is currently delving into, although it's uncertain as to where it will lead. The actor, who spent 10 years on Duel, expressed his thoughts after the news of his departure surfaced. He mentioned that his primary reason for leaving was to take on a different character, as he didn't want to be stuck in the same role indefinitely. Although Days viewers are sad to see Billy Flynn go, they are pleased he will remain in daytime. He may not have been the first actor to portray Chad Dimera, but many fans consider him the most unforgettable. It will be challenging for another actor to take on the role, yet the show must continue. An actor known in daytime has stirred up conversation with his social media posts. Connor Floyd portrayed Philip Chance Chancellor on The Young and the Restless from 2019 until 2024. At that time, he was reduced to a recurring role. Some fans even speculated that Billy Flynn would assume the role of Chance. However, it now appears that the situation might be reversed. Fans believe Connor Floyd might be the new Chad Dimera on Days. Social media detectives observed that the actor recently began following the official Duel Instagram account and some cast members. Soap fans are typically cautious about recasts, but viewers of the Peacock soap embraced the idea. Many pointed out the resemblance between the two actors. At least he looks the part reasonably well. I wouldn't mind this recast, but it depends on his acting skills. I hope he's good. Wow! He could be a doppelganger. He resembles Billy Flynn a bit and would make a great Chad recast. I really hope this rumor is true. While Connor Floyd's activity on social media suggests he might be joining Duel, there's another actor set to appear this summer in a secret role. Earlier this year, it was revealed that Hank Northrup would be joining the cast. He is the son of soap opera veterans Wayne Northrup and Lynn Herring. Sadly, Wayne Northrup passed away in November 2024, just a month after the legendary Drake Hogestyn from Duel. Hank Northrup is expected to make his debut this summer, but his character remains undisclosed. He might be stepping into the shoes of the new Chad Dimera. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Duel right now. Come back here often for Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, and updates. Days of Our Lives spoilers are in for the week of June 23, 2025. Fans can expect to see Marlena Evans share a close moment with Roman Brady. Paul Narita and Andrew Donovan's wedding day arrives. Plus, Tony Dimera makes a bold move. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the Peacock soap opera. Let's begin on a cheerful note. Paul and Andrew's wedding day will finally arrive. Paul really wanted his father to be there. Unfortunately, John Black died before the wedding. There is still a possibility that John could make his presence felt as Paul gets ready to marry the love of his life. There is reason to believe that Kat Green has some kind of history with the ISA. Kat seemed truly sad that John died and stared at his framed photo for a bit longer than necessary. The blonde told Tate Black that she wouldn't exist if it weren't for John saving her mother. However, I wonder if there is more to the story. It certainly seems so, as Kat's hand is forced by Shane Donovan. Later in the week, Kat enjoys a nice moment with Chad Dimera. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of June 23rd reveal that Kate Roberts Brady turns to Alex Kyriakis for help. By the end of the conversation, Alex and Kate come to an agreement. So, this must have something to do with Philip Kyriakis and Xander Cook Kyriakis. Later, Stephanie Johnson questions Philip. The public relations professional is likely going to grill Philip about his story about the beating. Will Philip keep quiet or tell Stephanie what is really going on? If Philip tells Stephanie the truth, this could put her in a tough position with Alex. If Alex promised to share any intel about the beating with Kate, then Stephanie's trust could be betrayed. Stephanie will have a tough decision to make. By the end of the week, she gets advice from Jada Hunter. Elsewhere, Xander comes up with an idea of how to save the company. Fans will also see Tony Dimera making a bold move. Jennifer Devereaux and Jack Devereaux have family bonding time with Thomas Dimera and JJ Devereaux. Rachel Black tells Marlena the truth. Later, Marlena joins Roman Brady in getting some answers from Johnny Dimera. Later, Belle Black confronts EJ Dimera. Shane believes Tate Black is reconsidering. Meanwhile, Sophia Choi begs Melinda Trask for help. Kate just happens to catch a close moment between Marlena and Roman. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Monday, June 23rd, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on Peacock to find out what is coming up next. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Tuesday, June 24th. Celebrate Andrew and Paul tying the knot, while Shane has an important question for his grandson. Marlena urged Paul and Andrew not to put aside their wedding plans. John would have wanted his son to marry the love of his life, so they do. It's a happy occasion. Except that Shane isn't only focused on his son's big day. He's worried about his grandson, Tate. Now that Sophia has gone into labor, she's still determined to give her child up for adoption. But is Tate still equally committed? And if he does decide he wants to be a father, how will that affect his getting back together with Holly? After all, let's not forget, she's the most important person in this scenario. Erin, for instance, was most worried about how she was handling Tate and Sophia having a baby. Why shouldn't Tate put her first, too? Rachel told Kristen that she saw Johnny pointing a gun at EJ. Kristen told EJ, and Brady. So it's not exactly a secret anymore. Time to add one more person to that list. Rachel clues in her grandma Marlena. By this time next week, it feels like the only ones who won't know about it are Jada and Rafe. Belle confided in Carrie that she's in love with EJ. At which point, Carrie shared some of her experiences of being in conflict with her sister Sammy. It's not fun, and sometimes it becomes actually life-threatening. Now that Belle has told EJ she loves him, things are about to become much worse. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the June 24th, 2025 episode tease Salem's Wedding of the Year. It's time for another Salem wedding. On Paul and Andrew's big day, they'll be joined by friends and family to celebrate their happily ever after. Despite everyone still grieving John, the happy couple will be joined by Marlena, Shane, Brady, Carrie, and awkwardly enough, even Paul's ex Will. Meanwhile, Steve and Kayla will have a romantic morning of their own, while Marlena tends to Rachel after their sleepover and Will joins his aunts for a bite at the pub. Days of Our Lives has a new Chad Dimera. Connor Floyd, who is still airing as Chance on The Young and the Restless, begins filming as Chad on June 23rd, according to Deadline. Billy Flynn, the current Chad, just started airing on YNR as Kane Ashby on June 19th, after it was discovered that his original character, Aristotle Dumas, was actually Kane. Because Days films so far in advance, Flynn will air on YNR and Days simultaneously until early 2026. Floyd will start airing as Chad in April 2026. Flynn recently spoke to TV Insider about taking over the role. When Billy Flynn first sat down with YNR head writer and executive producer Josh Griffith, he had no idea he was being considered for the role of Kane Ashby. It wasn't until later that the opportunity was laid out, and once it was, Flynn dove in headfirst. He began studying the character's history, revisiting past episodes, and focusing particularly on Kane's longtime romance with Lily, played by Christelle Khalil. Although his version of Kane will bring notable differences, such as a change in accent and age dynamic, Flynn emphasized that the emotional anchor of the character remains the same. There was a chemistry that I was like, okay, it's gonna be good, Flynn recalled, describing his immediate connection with Khalil during their first scene together. He's confident that the deep bond between Kane and Lily will still be the emotional centerpiece, no matter how the character evolves. "Lily is Kane's one true love," he said. "I know how to do that." Flynn is no stranger to taking on roles with rich histories, and while he acknowledges the work done by original portrayer Daniel Goddard, he's not looking to mimic what came before. Instead, he sees this as a chance to offer a new, fully realized interpretation of Kane. "We're going to rebrand it a bit," he explained, noting that his portrayal would be distinct yet rooted in the heart of who Kane is. As Kane makes his dramatic return to Genoa City, fans can expect a refreshed take on the character, one that promises to stay true to the essence of Kane, while pushing him into uncharted territory. Flynn's approach might be different, but the legacy of the character, and especially the love story at its center, remains firmly intact. Casey Diedrich originated the role of Chad in 2009. Flynn stepped into the role in 2014. Chad began a popular romance with Abigail Devereaux. Recently on Days of Our Lives, Sarah kicked Xander out, and now the two are headed for a custody fight over baby Victoria. She doesn't trust his volatility, and he doesn't trust that she'll tell him the truth. The fight over their child only deepens the level of emotions involved, and now that young Rachel is having health issues, Sarah will be thrust down memory lane. Her portrayer, Lindsay Godfrey, opened up about Sarah's relationship with Rachel. Godfrey had a chat with Soap Opera Digest and noted that the history of Sarah and Rachel's connection was exciting for her. In years past, Sarah and Eric's baby Mickey died, but was swapped with Kristen and Brady's child Rachel. So Sarah spent the first year of the child's life raising her and even managing her cancer care logistics. They do have this very interesting, very deep connection, and I love that we are revisiting that, Godfrey stated. Rachel has recently been having issues with her stomach, which could have something to do with the drama in the Dimera mansion. But Brady brought her to the hospital to double-check, and Sarah's taking a keen interest in helping her erstwhile daughter. Initially chalking Rachel's issues up to the death of her grandfather, John, Sarah has no idea about the shocking truth that the young girl is sitting on. "She doesn't really help it get down to the bottom of the truth as much," Godfrey remarked. While Rachel's been a handful over the years, she's also a witness to something that's potentially mind-bending for a little girl. The night of EJ's shooting, Rachel witnessed Johnny pointing a gun at his old man. As yet, we don't know if Johnny actually pulled the trigger, but just seeing such a scene would be overwhelming for a child. Sarah starts to notice that Rachel's got something heavy she wants to unload, and she certainly wouldn't think it was something like Johnny pointing a gun at EJ. Ultimately, Godfrey is happy to revisit the storyline and noted that a conversation about her involvement in Rachel's early years will likely come up between them. With Sarah and Xander's relationship blown to smithereens yet again, she tossed him out of the house after finding out he'd beaten his brother Philip to a pulp. It's time for the two characters to move on in opposite directions, which means new lovers, or possibly reuniting with old ones. That is, until the Days of Our Lives writers concoct a way to script a reunion for one of the show's most charismatic couples. Here's a look at who we'd like to see each of them move on with in the interim. There are always the old fallbacks for Sarah. Her ex, Rex, has been there to pick up the pieces whenever things with Xander have imploded in the past. He'd likely come running back to her like a puppy if she threw him a bone. Or perhaps Eric, who might not be living so happily after, with Nicole in France, could decide to leave her, move back to Salem, and reignite things with Sarah. Remember, they had a short-lived romance years ago that produced a child, baby Mickey, who sadly died shortly after she was born. However, the more intriguing choices for Sarah, and romances that would really stick it to Xander, would be if she got involved with a couple of eligible Kiriaki's men. Unlucky in love, Brady would be a good option. He and Sarah are both good people and might actually be able to make a relationship work. Then there's Philip, Xander's half-brother, the man who's scheming to get his hands on the Kiriaki's fortune, which is what ultimately led to Sarah and Xander's downfall. Imagine Xander's furor if his scheming brother suddenly began betting his estranged wife. Meanwhile, on the Xander front, viewers know that Emily O'Brien is headed back to town as his former fiancée, Gwen, in July, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. She'll find the man who dumped her at the altar suddenly free again. Considering how head over heels in love Gwen was with Xander, she'd likely jump at another chance with the man that got away. Plus, they're two of a kind and have always made a more realistic match. Another intriguing choice for Xander would be Belle. Yes, Belle. Sure, she's the Salem DA, but she's shown a penchant for bad boys. Hello, EJ. Since she split with Sean, and there's nobody badder or more dangerous than Xander. In the Monday, June 23rd episode of Days of Our Lives, Jack and Jennifer had game night with JJ and Thomas. On the verge of returning to Boston, they told JJ that one of the reasons they wanted to visit Salem more frequently was because of Kat Green. Meanwhile, Gabby asked Chad to take back Dimera, although she should have been talking to Tony, and Shane had an illuminating chat with Kat. Okay, so it was a real information dump on Kat Green's history during Monday's episode, so here's what we now know and how it all ties together. Kat Green, Anna Lynn McCord, was an analyst for the ESA, one of the best ever, according to Shane Donovan, Charles Shaughnessy. As an analyst, she wasn't in the field, but she was assigned to the Clyde Weston, James Redd case, so she investigated his drug ring. And she got burned, her father was killed, and her mother was kidnapped and brainwashed. Kat was almost killed and had to have multiple surgeries to reconstruct her face. The ISA must have found the best plastic surgeon in the world for those surgeries, and she had to rehabilitate her entire body. Shane referred to this time as a trying ordeal. Understatement. That's how she ended up entangled in Clyde's clutches. And now Shane needed to reel Kat and her talents back into service for the ISA. After all, as Marlena's Deidre Hall assistant at the hospital, she's in an ideal location for her new mission, should she choose to accept it. And well, she had no other choice but to accept it. After this case is done, however, her ties to the ISA are done as well. That's the story she is sticking to. The ISA has decided to focus its attention on the Dimera criminal enterprise. They have never been able to bring them down, and now that the family is kind of in shambles with everybody pursuing their individual interests, this is the time. Shane specifically mentioned EJ and his purchase of the hospital. As suspected, EJ didn't have the money to fit the bill himself. He must have a partner who provided seed money to enable the transaction. Who is that person? Somebody from Dimera past? A brand new player? This also means Kat has omitted a huge truth about herself from Chad, and this new case means she will continue to lie to Chad. Not ideal, especially when JJ, Jack, and Jennifer will be keeping a close eye on her. We finally got to see Tony. Yay! And right away, EJ read him in on the memory stick and what it has to do with his son. So we're unclear as to what that footage will show. We already know that it featured Johnny pointing a gun at EJ, but that's it? There's nothing more, and we're going to have to rely on Rachel to fill in the big old blank? Later, at the bistro, Tony reconnected with EJ and Chad and got the ball rolling on the mission he thinks they should all take on together. He wants them all to wrestle Dimera Enterprises back from the Kyriakis family. Unfortunately for Tony, Chad and EJ decided to sit this one out. So, when he's on the phone with Anna, he said it'll be up to him to get this done. Another interesting thing that happened was when Tony asked Gabby if she had seen or heard from Stefan. He hasn't even, though he and Anna were in Alemania for a bit. EJ claimed that he received a card or something from Stefan's after he was shot. So, is this a way to explain he's still out there? Or is it the exact opposite, and the show is thinking about bringing Stefan back to the canvas? Could he be the one helping EJ from afar?